When it's an awesome seller's market, what's the number one mistake a seller can make? We'll talk about that coming up next. Hey, what's going on, friends? Dylan Onaka here with the Buy Big Island video blog. And as we've been talking about for months and months and months, it is completely a seller's market right now. But we're starting to see sellers make one big mistake that is really, in my opinion, leaving money on the table and putting themselves at a disadvantage to not take full advantage of the really great seller's market that we're seeing right now. And what I mean by this is the number one mistake that you can make as a seller in a seller's market is overpricing your property. It seems like common sense and seems obvious, but what we're seeing right now is that sellers are getting really aggressive. I won't say greedy, but they're getting aggressive with price. And what's happening is, for the first time in 7 months, last month we had more inventory on the market than there was the previous month. We've seen inventories fall month after month after month until last month, and inventories went back up. And that's mainly because there are more properties sitting on the market for longer right now, because sellers have gotten to the point where they're pricing properties so high that buyers are starting to pull back and say, hey, that's a little bit too much, I'm probably not gonna pay that much. And so here's what I would recommend and just want you to understand as a seller right now, is that for the past 6 months, it's been a really strong seller's market, even a little bit more than that. And buyers right now have this mindset, right? It's in the buyer psychology that I'm gonna have to pay more than the list price. And so when a buyer goes and looks at a home that may be overpriced, $50,000 or $60,000 priced higher than where it should be, a buyer looks at that and says, well, you know, I might have paid the list price, but since the market's so hot, it's gonna sell for over list price anyways, and I'm not willing to pay over the list price, so I'm not even gonna make an offer at all, and they don't even get in the mix. And what happens is, and I'll give you an example here with just price points, right? So let's say a house is worth $800,000, kind of fair price in this market right now is where it should be, $800,000, but a seller says, you know what, I wanna maximize the amount of money that I'm getting, so I'm gonna price it at $850. And now when the buyers come and look at it, you're gonna get the same buyer, right? The buyer that was gonna come and look at the $800,000 house is gonna look at the $850,000 house. So those buyers show up, and those buyers would come in and look at the $850 house and say, wow, this house, you know, I'd probably pay $850, but you know, it might go for $40,000 or $50,000 higher than $850, and I'm not sure if I wanna pay that much. So they don't even make an offer at all, because they have it in their mindset that other people are gonna overpay for that house and they don't wanna be a part of it. Where if the property was priced at $800,000, that same buyer may have come in and said, you know what, I'll pay $850, I'll pay $860, I'll pay $870, because in their mindset, they were gonna have to pay more than $800,000 to begin with. They're just not willing to get in the mix at $850 because they're thinking, well, I may have to pay $900 or $910 or $920, and that discourages them from making an offer at all. And so you may get $850,000 for your house, but did you leave $10 or $20 or maybe $30,000 on the table? It's possible as a seller to do that by overpricing your property and not allowing buyers to come in and compete against each other, get emotionally involved. You know, you may leave off of some of the concessions that buyers are making right now, where they're not asking for a termite inspection or a survey or a cleaning at the end. You know, all a few $100, $1,000 charges here and there that can save you money at the end of the day, because the property is overpriced, and somebody who's gonna pay a premium is gonna want those things included in their offer. And so it's just something to think about in this seller's market, is you can be too aggressive, and we're seeing sellers do that right now. So if you still wanna sell, this is an outstanding time to sell, and you should give us a call and we should talk about your options. But you should definitely consider pricing the property fairly, taking advantage of multiple buyers competing over that offer, making multiple offers, and giving you the best possible terms for your home. So just something to think about. That, in my opinion, is the number one mistake that sellers are making right now, is they are overpricing their property and potentially leaving money on the table, because the worst thing you can do is have a property sit for a couple of weeks, because people automatically assume there's something wrong with it. So you do want to take advantage of the market, and you want to price the property fairly, let buyers decide what they're going to end up paying for it, and get the best terms you possibly can. So as always, if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Hit me up at dylan@buybigisland.com, and we'll get back to you. Thanks you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Aloha.